Hello, I'm Gary Lyon and welcome to Access All Areas for 2015. Back with me once again to chat about all the footy issues bubbling along at the moment is Damien Barrett. Damo, what a fantastic opening to the season.
It was, Gaz, but let's cut right to the chase. Let's do it right off the top of this show. Something's going to have to go horribly wrong, and I don't just mean wrong, but horribly wrong for Hawthorn not to three-peat.
What happened to you over Easter? What happened to you in the off-season? On the back of one game, you're declaring the season over.
It's not on the back of one game. They've made 3 grand finals in a row. They've won the past 2. And they've done this yesterday at the MCG to a team which gave itself a massive chance in this game.
Look at the hands of Rioli there. That does excite you. I'm going to get to your comment in a minute. Bruce was fantastic. Ended up kicking 5 goals. Puopolo was sensational. They're smaller to mids, so dangerous. This bloke's just such a creative type. 10 pressure acts as well for Bruce inside their forward 50. That sort of stuff gets involved. Puopolo, look, what a pickup he's been. I mean, every AFL club would love this sort of bloke. I'm not sure he's going to do that too often. But
the fact that he feels he can do that and get away with it and pull it off, it just goes to show his mindset within that star-studded team that he now feels very much part of it.
So you've got him across the line, have you?
Close to it.
What did you do Easter Sunday? Did you watch?
What, are you going to dispute what I've just said?
Did you watch Port Adelaide play Fremantle?
Yeah, I did. But I still think Port Adelaide fell short last year when it counted, and Hawthorn has got the runs on the board.
Oh, you like a big statement, so well done. The Cats' defensive areas were ordinary, Warrior, and this came about from pressure. Look at this. This told the story early in the piece. 1 goal on the board, both Geelong players go to ground. Yep. Ruff and Hill keep their feet. It was un-Geelong-like. Maybe they're not going to be as good as you thought.
And this is where I will pull you up and say this is only round 1 with Geelong.
Oh,
they
you can't
will
have it both ways.
I can have it both ways when the performance from Hawthorn was so comprehensive, Gaz. And there are doubts about Geelong, and you highlighting them at the stakes and particularly the defensive areas or getting it out of the Hawthorn half of the ground. I mean, that's a Brownlow medalist playing that handball there. And look at that kick from Lewis, just right into the hot zone there for Bruce. No, look, there's nothing that I saw yesterday that makes me think they're not going to go three-peat.
They were fantastic, but I mean, it's early days.
What about the Crows, Gaz? I didn't have them in the 8th. I'm not sure you did either. But on the back of what they did to North Melbourne, if they produce this, they're going to be thereabouts, aren't they? Small
sample, Damo, but it's a very impressive sample. And when you've got a new coach that wanders into a side with Philip Walsh, he's obviously taken a style of game that he wants them to play, and all you can take out of round 1 is that they've embraced it fully. We'll get to North Melbourne in a moment because the resistance was futile. But this full press, this full ground press...
So tell me what you're highlighting here.
Oh, this is taking all players. There's 15 Crows players in that shot there. The ball's in their forward 50. They want to play it in their half of the ground. And so they've all pushed up. And North Melbourne were like this in the headlight. And look, this has got to work both ways. You can put it in place, but unless you get the pressure, you can waltz through the press and be scored against really heavily. The pressure came. North had no idea how to get the footy out. As you see here, it got turned over again. It was a perfect start for Adelaide, perfect start for Phil Walsh.
Guys, a lot of debate around Taylor Walker's ascension to the lead role there on the playing list at Adelaide. I think what we saw on the weekend is a personification of why Phil Walsh made that decision.
Well, big decisions, and his major one is ticked off. It's a bit like Steve Smith, if I can take it into cricket territory. I mean, who would have thought Steve Smith would turn out to be the captain that he was over the summer months? What it says is you've got to be inside the camp to understand what qualities these blokes bring. I heard someone say John Worsfold spent a bit of time over there in summer, had a preconceived notion, probably like all of us, that he was a lad Taylor. He's walked away after a day saying he is absolutely the standout clear leader.
Didn't fight too hard to keep his Guernsey on there either, guys, did he? No. It just came off very easily.
Pretty ordinary Broken Hill singlet tan there from the Texan as well. He needs to get sorted out. That's Adelaide, massive tick. Let's just hold fire for a couple of weeks. But North Melbourne now, 2 games in a row. Preliminary final into this game. You've got a soft spot for them. What's your greatest concern?
Look, I'm going to use your terminology here. It's the body of work aspect here. They need to bounce back this week, obviously, but the concern is got smashed and ragdolled by the Swans in a prelim final last year, got smashed and ragdolled in round 1, 2015. Major concerns right there.
Both ends. Petrie Wade at the other end too is just a little question mark on how good that's going to go.
Now, you're pretty excited on the weekend with this game.
22 weeks for this.
22 weeks, about 22 years.
They were fantastic. And look, they took the game on. This is corridor footy at its finest, which is not something you've been able to say about Melbourne.
Yeah.
And again, Damo, in the past, having watched Melbourne probably more closely than you have, they've tried this sort of stuff, but would have broken down there because that kick gets turned over.
So tell me what happened on the weekend that made it different.
They hit
just
targets.
pinpointing.
I mean, Paul Roos can say, let's play this way. They try the first time, they turn it over. They try the second time, it doesn't work, and all of a sudden the bloke's running into the middle of the corridor saying, well, why would I? But they went bang, bang, bang. It was good to see.
They were challenged, weren't they, throughout the game,
Yeah,
particularly late, and it happened twice in the last quarter. And one particular passage of play had Neville Jetta taking what appears to be a dive.
Love this fella. I think he's going to be a potential All-Australian squad member.
What's he doing there?
Stayed down too long.
Yeah.
I don't think that was... Well, look, it's easy for the cheap seats, but on the surface it didn't look like a knock that suggested you should stay down that long. They were coming, they being the Gold Coast Suns at this stage. His opponent ended up kicking the goal, so I think they might just say, Nev, get up.
Now, some strange memories coming out of the Gold Coast team on the back of that one loss, guys. They cannot, as a footy club, now change the narrative on their situation. Rodney Eade's now sort of pushing talk of finals away. When they sack a coach and when they draw in the players and bring in the players' input into sacking Guy McKenna last year, that's fact. The players had a say in it. They bring Rodney Eade in, having had a crack at John Longmire and Brad Scott that we know of, I believe Ken Hinkley as well. They can't then now run game into the new season with Rodney Eade as coach, start talking about, hey, finals are still a fair way away. Yeah. That's not what they said, and that's what the chairman, John Witheriff, said either.
Played like a side that had a soft attitude to the game. Played like a side that did want to pay a price to win. Jago O'Meara goes down out for the season as well. No Lynch, no Dixon in the key posts. They in hindsight, what a wonderful thing. They were right for the picking, and then you add that to the attitude they took. They got what they deserved. They want to respond pretty profoundly, pretty quickly. Gold Coast.
Well, I just wanted to highlight also the game. I know you were very critical of his game as it unfolded. Nick Malcheski, the high-name, big-name recruit, who made some pretty strong public statements about what he saw and observed in the players when he got to that club. And yet he, on the weekend, Gaz, was probably as bad as anyone and as guilty as any son going around.
No question. That's what he's recruited for. His disposal was poor, and there's a crunch one coming up that... I mean, that's under pressure stuff, but I mean, the next one here, you look at it and go, that's not what we recruited you for. Under pressure, 8 points down, they kick 3 in a row, he turns it over. But it's more than that. I watched his defensive efforts one-on-one, and Kent got a hold of him early in the piece. And then you have a look at this. First gamer, Vandenberg, again, 11 points of margin, you'll see it shortly. He just wasn't strong enough in the contest, Nick Malcheski. And if that's indicative of where that... Here we go. If that's indicative of where his mind was at, he's another one that I'm going to be watching as closely as anyone to see what sort of response he's got. Had he taken on the game like a couple of first gamers did on debut, then you wouldn't have seen that. And this kid, Camden McIntosh, on Thursday night, first game, been around for 2 years, was best player on the ground.
He was, and he's already locked away as the Rising Star nominee for that round, and good on him. But it wasn't just him, and you were really impressed with this guy, weren't you?
Yeah, I thought he was I thought he was a little undersold. 9 tackles, 10 possessions, contested marks, cool head, hands quick. Gee, he was fantastic, Angus Brayshaw. I know Matthew Lloyd's got a big opinion of him. And this boy, Jesse Hogan, well, he was under pressure. Look at this, Damo.
They needed this mark and this goal, didn't they?
Yeah, he went back and slotted it. Appetite for the contest. And again, Isaac Heaney, loved him. I loved him through the NAB Cup, to be perfectly honest. And again, that's a clutch moment, and he kicks a goal. Pretty exciting stuff.
I want to go back to Sunday night, guys. A contentious issue there at Etihad Stadium where Bug hit Riewoldt. Now, I say hit, it's a collision in footy, and it's been cleared by the match review panel.
Big on this.
I disagree with the outcome of the match review panel, guys. I'll tell you what. And this is what's going to happen from now. We will look back on this incident, and we can see it there now, where Riewoldt's not going for ball, and he's ended up in hospital with whiplash, OK? We will look back on this, round 1, 2, 15, and I reckon it'll be happening about round 16 when they'll say, you know what, we got that wrong, because that's a player who's been picked off. Look, I'm not saying Bug went in there with full intent, but he has to pay a price for that action. And I've got a feeling, guys, this is going to be like round 1, 2, 13, when Lindsay Thomas got Ben Reid, and they eventually admitted they were wrong on that, and yet a whole body of work had been allowed to play out with that as a precedent. I didn't like what I saw on the weekend, and I reckon there needed to be a price to pay for Bug.
You've come in firing, Damo, and I love it. I want you to keep going. Lockie Keefe and Josh Thomas, 2 players positive. First test, April 14 is the B sample. We'll wait till then. But you think they've been ostracised?
Oh, they have been, clearly. And look, if this was Travis Cloke and Scott Pendlebury, they would have arms being wrapped around them from the playing group, from the officials, from the board members, from Eddie. They're not happening with Josh Thomas and Lockie Keefe.
Whole motto is side by side. So you're just saying on the basis that they're not as good as the other big names, they're going to shove them aside.
That's the way the world works, Gary, and whether Collingwood wants to fully admit to this as well. But what they're saying is that they're not allowed to know what goes on. They're not allowed to talk to these two people on an official basis for legal reasons. That's rubbish. Footy clubs need to know and do make it a habit to know what goes on. They know what went on.
Side by side.
Well, what's your observations on this?
Side by side.
Do you reckon they've been side by side?
I don't understand the drug code at the moment. That's what I don't understand. That might be for another day. Hey, love this from Mitch Brown. The top-up's Mad Monday.
That's funny.
That's funny.
That's really good.
Before the season got underway, the verdict handed down. Off you go, and he wasn't really having a Mad Monday. Another Mitch Brown went down for West Coast, by the way, on the weekend. Might have been nice to slot him in.
To play.
Source Merritt.
Scott Pendlebury nearly went down with Merritt coming through there, Gary. I'm not sure he noticed the ball was in that play.
Get the footy. He ran past it, and you got the most silky player in the competition sitting there going, well, Source, I'll go and get a hold of it. You're a father, I'm a father. My boy's a little bit older than this. I couldn't drag him down to the boundary, but just an early induction into what it's like to get down and put a little bit of supporter heat. Look at that little baby.
Guess that baby shouldn't be at the footy, and it shouldn't be being used.
The footy. Why? You can't go to the footy because they've had a baby.
Not to a Fremantle game, Guess.
I tell you what, Damo, have you upset some people today? Collingwood and Fremantle.
I'm not sure that's great parenting. Hey, Michael Jamieson, Guess, just decided to take the boundary umpire out.
Be careful. Some suggested this was mocking umpires when you laugh at this.
I did read that. Patrick Smith wrote that. And I love and read Patrick Smith every day. I'm not sure that point needed to be raised with what's going on with refereeing in NRL at the moment. But that was funny too, wasn't it?
Just a little funny.
You got one more funny?
I have, indeed. Jack Revolt, fantastic. Played a great game. This was emotional, but I'm sure Alex Rance was just understood where Jack was in the moment. Funny from Alex. But Jack, as you can see, was doing it pretty hard after the loss of his, I think his cousin, wasn't it? Yeah. Damo, not bad. In fact, very good from you. Clearly, you're under pressure. You've come out and you've performed. I like it. Don't forget.
What's happening to your shirt today? It's pretty conservative.
I know. I didn't know we were doing photos. Don't forget to keep clicking back to afl.com.au for all your latest news and sensational video content right throughout the week. Thanks for watching. Access all areas. We'll see you next week back on our usual day on Monday. Goodbye.